talk to you guys today about being present. Had a conversation with a good friend of mine recently. This good friend used to be in the music business. Actually, he's still in the music business, but back in the day, he was an entertainer and writer, and he had a hit record. I mean, a hit record. And recently we were talking, and I asked him about back in those days, because I didn't know him well back in those days when he had the hit record. He was doing really well. And I asked him, I said, you know, what did you enjoy most about that experience? And he said, look, I didn't enjoy the experience. And I'm like, what? Like, are you serious? Dude, like, you gotta be kidding me. He's like, no, I didn't enjoy it. He said I wasn't present for that whole experience. So when I say present, I mean being somewhere physically or in places physically and being there mentally as well, right in that time, kind of taking in all of the stimuli from that time and exhibiting the requisite emotions, I would say. So he explained to me that he was more angry, and he was angry about things in the past, so things prior to that success, and so he didn't really even get to enjoy it at all. And I was floored by that. And he asked me a question. He said, don't you have periods in your life where things were going well and you just didn't really take it all in? And I had never thought about that before. Not much. I've thought about it a little, but not much. And there were periods in my life where there were stretches of a year or 18 months, it varied, where things just seemed to go extremely well without me putting in a whole lot of effort. Things just seemed to happen. As I think back on it, I didn't really experience it the way I should. I think because I was in the midst of it, and since I was right in the middle of it, I was just living it. I wasn't really enjoying it, or whatever emotion I should have, even if there are times when I should have been angry or whatever, I wasn't really taking that all in and really living it and experiencing it and taking it all in and saying, wow, looking around and like, wow, this is great. It was just happening, and I was just kind of going through it and kind of in a daze. So you have to be present for some of it. It's just a shame to go through life in a daze and not really take all of this in, even the bad stuff. I think one of the reasons why it's a bit more difficult to do is because we're so distracted. I mean, as far as technology is concerned, we all know the whole, everybody looking at a screen, which is ironic because I'm talking to you and requiring you to look at a screen to see me. But we've seen, we've looked up and we've looked down the street and watched everybody walking on their cell phones, not even paying attention to anything. I remember when my son was playing sports when he was younger, and how everybody was just focused on recording the amazing thing that your child is involved in the field of battle, whether that's on a basketball court or a field or a soccer field, whatever. And your memories is through a screen. I mean, you didn't actually just take the time to just watch it and take it all in. It was really interesting. People with their iPads, and they all have their iPads up and they're filming their child, and which is cool because I did it sometimes too. But I hated doing it because I wanted to watch. I wanted to watch what was going on, as opposed to recording it and watching it on the screen. My son, who was away at school, who is now back. Just this past week, we went out, and I went out with my brother and his nephew. I mean, my nephew, his son. And his son is 6'2", chiseled jaw, good looks. My son is 6'5", good looks. And we were in a downtown area, and we were just walking. And so we stepped back about 5 steps, and we just observed them and what was going on around them. And, they were talking with each other and that kind of thing, but they were also on their phones. They had no idea what was going on around them. These are two very good looking guys, and there were young girls and women breaking their necks to look at these guys as they walked down the street. A busy street, crowded sidewalks. And one woman actually looked back. She had to be all of, I would say, 27, 28. Attractive woman. She was dressed up in a business suit, looked like she was coming from work or something. And she looked back and she was staring at them so much that she bumped into a planter. Now, on the side of the sidewalk near the street, where we were, there were these big planters with plants and stuff in them. And she bumped into it, checking them out. Now, both my son and my nephew were both oblivious. They're really humble guys. They really don't, they don't pay attention to who's paying attention to them. They're kind of either, maybe on their phone or they're talking to each other. They're just not. And there's nothing wrong with being in the moment and having conversations with your cousin and kind of catching up and just kind of doing that kind of thing. But we've observed them, when they were by themselves and that kind of thing, and they have no clue of what's going on around them. Women are practically falling over themselves when these guys go in. As a matter of fact, we were in my niece, this is my nephew's sister, and we went into a store she wanted to go into, was Aritzia. And shout out to all my Aritzia women out there. But she wanted to go into Aritzia, and girls were coming up to her asking her, "Is that your brother?" And at the same time, my nephew was like, "I don't even see it. I don't notice it." Right? So they're not really present. They're not really aware. And which is interesting. But I think in a way, they're not present for a lot of the experiences and what's going on around them in certain times. Not all the time, but with certain times. I'd like to hear if any of you are really present in your lives. Now, there are times when we do have to think about the future. And there are times when we really have to kind of dwell on the past. We're trying to figure certain things out. But for those who have kind of mastered this, who are really, really experiencing life, I'd really love to hear how you do it in the comments. It's something that I'm trying to do more of. Earlier today, I went out to a restaurant with some friends, and I made it a point to turn my phone off. Interestingly enough, I turned it on kind of midway through, almost as a habit. It was almost a reaction. I just turned over and turned it on. Then I realized what I was doing, and I turned it back off. And I was listening to everything that they were saying. We were having a good time, joking around. So I was really trying to take it in. But I thought I'd reach out to all of you to see maybe some things aside from like turning off your devices, which I think you do have to do at certain times, to kind of focus on what's going on in the present. What are your techniques for doing this? I'd really like to hear it. And for those of you who are experiencing some of this not being present in your life, and as you think back on it, I'd like to hear about your experiences too, and how that affects you going forward, and what you remember about being present at certain points in your past. I'm looking forward to the conversation. So until next time,